Thank you so much for clicking. It means everything to me. And in today's video, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be slagging my first appointment with a rheumatologist that I had last year. I think I just got this guy on an off day. Maybe he was having a bad morning. I don't know. When I got the letter from the appointment, which includes what happened in the appointment and what we spoke about, I cried. I actually cried. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I was absolutely shocked. So I am going to explain what happened in the appointment, and then I'm going to read you the letter. So in my last video, if you haven't watched it already, I was tested positive for the HLA-B27 gene, and the next step after that was to see a rheumatologist. And my GP referred me to one of the hospitals and to see a rheumatologist. Now, this was the same hospital and the same rheumatology department that my sister actually got diagnosed. So I was feeling pretty positive and like I was gonna get some sort of answers, and I had a lot of hope for this appointment. So I actually asked my sister to come along with me, and she's been through it, so I felt really comfortable having her there with me and supporting me. We sat down and he basically was asking me questions. So he asked me where the pain was coming from. I told him the pain was coming from the middle of both of my bum cheeks. It started off in one and I'm now feeling in both. I also told him that I get shooting pains down my thighs, and I was telling him how I would struggle to get out of bed some mornings, and even if I've been sitting down watching TV for a while, that I would get stuck on the sofa. I further explained to him that sometimes it would take me about 30 minutes to get out of bed. The pain was excruciating. That's a long word for me. And I told him I was also having dizzy spells. They would just randomly come on, and it honestly felt like the room was actually spinning. Anyway, so I said all that to him, and obviously he could see on my record that I tested positive for HLA-B27. And I also told him that my sister is here just to support me, and she also does have ankylosing spondylitis. So I feel like the evidence is building up. I have the pain in both of my bum cheeks, in the middle of my bum cheeks. To clarify, it's not actually my bum cheeks that are hurting, it's the sacroiliac. Did I say it? The next thing he wants to look at is my general mobility, really. So these include bending over, touching my toes, if I can move my neck in both directions okay without any pain. He also prods down my spine to check for any tenderness, and he also looks at my joints in my hands, my ankles, to see if anything is swollen. So I also tell him that we have AS in the family, and that my sister, who is sitting behind me in this appointment, by the way, so you all remember, she also has AS. Started asking her a few questions. When did she get diagnosed? How did she get diagnosed? And if she was on any medication. And like I said, she was diagnosed in the hospital I was at, in the same department, and she was on medication in the form of Humira. So he turns around and says to me that from what he's heard me say today and looking at how I can move, from like my dance, surely my range of movement, because of that flexibility, would be better. Is it less likely for them to find something wrong because I have a wider range of movement? I've always thought that. Again, if you know or have an opinion on that, let me know, because I'm really interested about that. So anyway, he then said from what he's seen today that I have, and I quote, non-specific back pain. Now, when he first said this, my first reaction was, this is amazing. I don't have an autoimmune disease. I don't have this illness that I'm going to have for the rest of my life. He also started to say that he will send me for an x-ray, which I did straight after this appointment, and that he would also send me for an MRI scan, which I can't remember. I think it was a maximum like 6 weeks after this appointment. Even if I did know at the time I had AS, I knew nothing would show up on the x-ray because I had the very, very early stages of it, and my bones wouldn't have overgrown or even been damaged, so I knew nothing would come up on the x-ray. So the MRI scan was really important to me because that is how most people actually get diagnosed with AS, because that actually shows up the inflammation in the joints. So he books me in for the x-ray, and he turns around and tells me that he would also book me in for an MRI scan. Great, brilliant, exactly what I wanted. He also tells me that nothing will probably show up because he believes that I have non-specific low back pain. Again, at the time, I was so grateful that he had that much confidence in that I didn't have AS, because nobody wants to hear that you have a chronic illness, you know? You don't want to hear that from your doctor. I left that appointment with my sister. I remember walking to the car park and being like, this is positive. I mean, I didn't get answers, obviously, but it's positive, right? He's telling me he thinks it's non-specific low back pain. So later on in the day after this appointment, I'm just evaluating everything I told him. I'm evaluating that mid-20s, I shouldn't still be getting stuck in bed with non-specific low back pain. I shouldn't be getting stuck on the sofa with non-specific low back pain. And I shouldn't be struggling to walk or walk down and up stairs with non-specific low back pain again in my mid-20s. And I'm starting to question and doubt myself if I actually trust what this rheumatologist told me in my appointment. I then realised I went to my rheumatologist. I went to a back pain specialist and he told me I had back pain. Yeah. And I think that's the point I lost hope in this rheumatologist. But nonetheless, I had an MRI scan booked, so I was happy about that. And I actually have some footage from the day of my MRI scan, and I will insert that here for you. So I've just come out of my MRI scan, and I am so stiff. I'm like hobbling like a penguin again. It was okay, it lasted for about half an hour. And I think they actually did it relatively quickly, which is quite good. Yeah, just have to wait until my birthday until I get the results, which I kind of hope they find something, which is just ridiculous because you don't want to have anything wrong, you know, you want to be fit and healthy, but I'm in so much pain, especially lying down still on my back for half hour, and it's like so painful. You just think there's got to be something there, and you want to know what it is because you feel like you're going through the pain for nothing. But yeah, we'll just have to see and see what comes of it. Now, on the day of my MRI scan, I can't remember what I said in that video because, like I said, it was a year ago. So when I was lying down on the MRI bed, I remember I could feel both sides of my sacroiliac. I found myself wanting my body to be in pain. I wanted the inflammation to be there so the MRI scan could pick it up. And it's so strange when you have chronic pain and all your days you're like, I don't want this today, just give me a break. I can't deal with it today. But I found myself the day of my MRI scan that I actually wanted to be in pain, so the inflammation would show. So I was delighted when I lay down on that bed and both of my joints were actually throbbing. And I'm stiff, so hopefully, fingers crossed, something would show up on my scan. So the nurses actually did help me to sit up, and they helped me off the bed, and they actually ended up helping me put my shoes on as well, because I mean that's what 30 minutes lying still with AS does to you. So like I mentioned a bit later on, here in the UK, when you have an appointment at a hospital, they write out a summary letter of what happened in that appointment and they send it to your GP practice, so they have everything on file and your GP's up to date with everything. Now, we also get a copy of this letter, and it's this letter that I'm going to read out to you. This is what that rheumatologist said, what happened in that appointment, and basically his opinion on my pain that I was having. So he starts off by saying, "Thank you for asking me to see this 27-year-old lady who works in retail. Over the last year, she has suffered with low back pain, particularly on the right side. The pain tends to be intermittent and she feels it mainly in the right buttock, but also to a lesser extent in the left buttock. All true, exactly what I told him. When her back is bad, it tends to be worse in the morning and she has some stiffness in the back which can be all morning, but usually lasts for approximately about 10 minutes. Now, I did say to him that it can take me 30 minutes to get out of bed, and then the pain and stiffness will last about another 10 minutes after that. He completely skipped over that. I mean, getting stuck in bed is very different from what he describes it as, which is some stiffness. She finds that movement tends to aggravate the pain. She does not have any referral of the back pain into the leg and otherwise is generally well. He either lied or that he wasn't listening to what I had to say, because I 100% told him that the pain also would shoot down into my thigh. And the fact that on this letter he says that I don't have any referral down the leg just baffles me. Because if I wasn't having any referral down the leg, why say that I'm not having any referral down the leg? Surely you just wouldn't put that in there at all. In her family history, she has a sister who may have ankylosing spondylitis and who apparently was on anti-TNF therapy in the form of Humira. May and apparently are words you use when you don't believe someone, when you don't have trust in what they're telling you. I told him that my sister, who has been diagnosed with AS and who was on Humira, and now from this letter he's saying that he doesn't believe what we were saying. So before I read out the next part, because he starts to go on about me being HLA-B27 positive, I've just remembered something that he said to me, that even if I've tested positive for the HLA-B27 gene, that it's only 2% chance that I will develop AS. But I mean, it's 2% nonetheless. I actually also found out later on, now don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure this is what I read, that 2% is also increased by 20% if you have someone in your family that has already been diagnosed with AS. So this is when he goes on about my spinal movements, my neck movements, and the HLA-B27 gene. There is no tenderness of her
sacroiliac
joint. There is no sign of nerve root tension in the lower limbs. Her joints and eyes are normal. X-rays of her spine, although normal, these lateral views. Oh yeah, so I also had an X-ray previous to this appointment, but the angle of that X-ray apparently wasn't the right one. Again, he's pointing out something else that somebody else has done wrong. So this is what he's just talking about there. X-rays of her spine are normal, although these were lateral views only, and in recent blood tests were normal, although she found to be HLA-B27 positive. So when he says about the blood test being normal, it basically means that the inflammatory marker blood test that they did, nothing showed up on that. But they did find that I was HLA-B27 positive. So then his opinion goes a bit like this. I think it's very unlikely that she has ankylosing spondylitis. It is very unlikely that she has ankylosing spondylitis. I suspect she simply has specific. I suspect she simply has specific. No, what one is it? I have a dyslexic brain. I suspect she simply has non-specific low back pain in a B27 positive individual. I've also arranged an MRI scan of the SI joints to see if there's any evidence of inflammation in them. And then he has to put his opinion in and say that he suspects these tests will be normal. So that is that letter. I still question to this day, why did he completely brush over the fact that I was feeling dizzy and that I was getting stuck in bed, that I couldn't walk up steps, let alone walk sometimes, and I had been feeling this pain for the past year. when you're in your 20s, you don't have pain that lasts that long unless it's something more serious. Yeah, regardless, I don't know, and I will never know what made him write some of the things he wrote in that letter, or didn't write, may the case be. I got on the phone and I rang up the rheumatology department and I asked them kindly if I could have a second opinion. I said, look, I have a history of this chronic illness in my family and I am showing symptoms, and I would like a second opinion because this doctor doesn't believe that I have AS, and I don't agree with what he said. And she very kindly did get me to another rheumatologist, which I'm forever grateful for, and it's probably one of the best things I could have done for myself. Basically, just trust your gut instinct. Question the specialists. They don't know how you're feeling, what pain you're feeling, what you're going through. So that is it for this video. I really hope this video wasn't too heavy, too negative. I feel like this happens quite often. I hate to say it, through what I've just seen on social media about people trying to get diagnosed with AS, and it breaks my heart. So if my little small platform can get just the word to one person to trust your gut instinct and to get a second opinion, then that'll be absolutely amazing, and hopefully you get a faster diagnosis and the answers that you're looking for. So I hope you have a good rest of your day, whatever you are doing, and you make healthy choices and be gentle with yourselves, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.